Alright, been a while since last video, but I wanted to make this on this Sunday, and I wanted to specifically talk about what I've been doing like with writing wise and my process. I have made myself a few opinions on this topic of how a writing process should look like, or that's in my case, since it's a very like subjective self preference, if that's a fucking word, thing writing is. And I also wanted to give a bit of an analogy, which I've been thinking about, and it has to do with like habits and structure, and basically like how strict productivity should you like go. So let's get poking into this shit. The first thing is my writing process. I've been all over the fucking place when it comes to this. I've tried doing it like George R. Martin without no boundaries, nothing. Just sit down and start writing and cross your fingers and hope you sit with something like Game of Thrones one day. I've tried J.K. Rowling's way and be very like structured with okay, this is how it's gonna go. I don't know if her like writing process was very strict in a sense. I think it was more fluid. But yeah, I tried, for example, blocking out, let's say, 1 hour for writing specifically this scene. Then after that, I'd take a 15-minute break. Then I'd do 30-minute world building, specifically on this kind of questions, etc. And I would say I did not enjoy the way of like blocking like specific things within writing. I felt like my creativity, my curiosity kind of like died away in a sense. But what I am doing right now, which is the update on the writing routine, I've made a couple of these videos previously, is that what I do is I basically, and this relates very well to the analogy I'm going to say. I basically take a block in the morning, and within that block, I keep myself flexible with the highest leverage tasks. So that's basically the analogy as well in play. I think it's smart to have these barriers for yourself when you start a habit, for example, writing at a specific time, and then you end the habit at a specific time. But inside that box, inside that like space of time, you have this like fluidity, this flexibility, where you have the highest leverage task, which is going to have the most impact. So, for example, in my case, writing specific scenes that turn into chapters, and world building, and world building that serves the story. Like, for example, figuring out what the sustained conflict of the entire series could be. In Harry Potter, for example, that's Voldemort versus Harry. That's one of the like key conflicts. We don't know who's going to win the fight at the end. That sustains the entire story, even though, for example, in let's say the fourth book, it's a Triwizard Tournament, which is like the main plot. But really, it's the overlying is that Voldemort is getting, it's the relationship between Voldemort and Harry. So, specific world building to serve the story, that's a high leverage task. So it's basically a flexibility between those two. So inside this box, or inside this space of time, I let myself just sit down, be calm, and just, okay, what does the book series need? And that might some days be just world building. That might some days be that, oh shit, I need to like actually improve my craft. I have to live in that world, so I started writing. For example, today I wrote 800 words, and that helped me understand a character called Lily Rowe better, much better than me trying to world build all of the details and blocking out name, age, characteristics, distinct skills, etc. I just sort of figure those small things out when I'm writing a scene where the character's in, and I have to understand. Okay, well, this character, well, how they interpret this scenario and how they look at this thing, and what's their backstory. It's kind of like spins up in the head while I write. So but yeah, sometimes I focus mainly on world building. Sometimes I'm just not in the mood at all to write anything, but my creativity is like, oh shit, I really want, and I feel very curious to go and try to figure out this question. But ultimately, I just pick one of the tasks and have like this flexibility. Whenever I feel my mind go like very exhausted within the one, I'd switch to the second. Maybe just take a little break, take some water, relax, and then go back to maybe drafting scenes. But I'd have this box, this start, this end, and I'd have the biggest, most important tasks within that space of time, and I just rotate between them, take a couple of rests, maybe do some push-ups or go to the bathroom or whatever. And then I'll come back and do more. And then when it says stop, I'll just stop. And you can also look at this analogy. I've done this with my like entire day as well. I see my entire day as a box, and within that box, I just throw all my most important and highest leverage tasks. Basically, highest leverage tasks, I mean the tasks that actually matter to you. For example, going to the gym and staying and eating clean. These type of things is very important for you to have a good life, in my opinion. And writing, specifically, not just, for example, tasks like, in my opinion, let's say drawing a map and drawing a character. I guess it all has to do with how you want your process to be. I'm not much of a drawer, so in that kind of task I usually exclude from my writing process. I mainly focus on, okay, let me write and let me think and like look at the scene and see it in my own head, and then I do world building and try to figure things out and just think problems through and create this depth in the world. It's those two things I mainly do. People can choose other things and have those as their highest leverage tasks. Of course, there's a few like actually writing and drafting scenes and chapters. That's the main thing. That is the main writing. You won't have a book if you don't do that. I don't have a book yet, but at least I'm writing every single day. When my brain is sort of like ready, I'd say. Even though I always think that you should, like in the start, I do that with myself as well. At the start point, it doesn't matter how the fuck you feel. I think you should push yourself into the thing, and you'll figure out like pretty quickly, 5, 10, 15 minutes in, whatever you make, like the writing or whatever the task you've chosen, you figure out if it's not going to be good because, well, there's some days you just don't got it in you. I'd say that's how it is for me, at least. I don't know, might be some different killers out there, but that's how I have it. So I use this analogy for like my entire day. So I have things like writing, highest leverage. That's like the first thing I do. Then I have like gym later in the week. Gym later in the day. I have a fasted cardio right after my writing. I have breakfast, eggs, butter, everything. And then I have reading, fiction, non-fiction. I watch a bit of a documentary. The main point is that inside this box, which is the entire day now, I only have things that really matter. And of course, sometimes, for example, today I'm not going to say my entire day is only filled with high quality activities and I'm just fucking perfect. Like, that's not fucking true, because today I actually played some Valorant, and that's that's tough. I actually played some video games, but I was with like being social with my family, with my brother, etc. But say that's pretty okay. But for the most part, my day is just filled with things that actually matter. That's I think what I want to conclude this video with. Fill your days with what matters. Figure out what your own writing process is. It's literally like I've tried using ChatGPT, Claude. I've tried searching for YouTube videos, trying to figure out like what's the fucking perfect writing routine. I didn't find it at all. I did not find it at all. And to be honest, I just found that a mixture between writing and drafting scenes and jumping to world building and then jumping back maybe, like following my curiosity within those two tasks, within that these barriers, that worked very well for me. And that's what I've been doing for maybe a couple of weeks now, after I changed from this very strict way, having 1 hour, 30 minutes, done, this, done. Now I have been much more flexible within those two barriers. So yeah, that's the writing update, that's the analogy on a fucking high. I think that's a very good way to live. That you live within structure, but you have flexibility within it. But you're flexible between things that actually matter. That's it. Hope you fucking enjoyed the video. No, I fucking did. So yeah, take care. Hope you enjoyed the 4K quality as well. Using a little mini camera right now. So just have a look at my desk too. Just for the sake of it. Bye.